Howdy, howdy, howdy. Ooh, welcome back to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. We got a fancy thing covering our heads right now. But, we're back. We're here. We're saying howdy. How's everybody right now?
I'm good, but my house isn't on fire, so...
Well, so far, me too. So far.
Dude.
Stormy.
Seriously.
It's wild. I always joke that I traded in tornadoes and hurricanes for earthquakes and fires, but the joke's coming to bite me back in the ass now. Here we go.
I couldn't believe it because I'm so forgetting California's hot most of the year round. But when I saw it for wildfires, I was like, it's Christmas. What's that about? But apparently it's the wind as well, though, and it's the wind's been really strong. Isn't this like hurricane winds or something at one point?
Well, it's hurricane level winds.
California is supposed to be, having a lot of snow and precipitation to build the ice pack that waters the state for the upcoming year, and it's not exactly doing that.
No, because the next president has said that it's all the Democrats' fault. It's got nothing to do with global warming and climate change, man.
Well, the policies firsthand have not helped and have legitimately screwed over the state and the ability to do anything to help afterwards. We shouldn't delve into that aspect of it, but
the one thing that the biggest problem I think they've got is the Colorado River?
Well, I don't think
what's the river that goes through the Grand Canyon in that, and that goes into
Colorado River.
Yeah, that's Colorado.
It is Colorado. So I know they divert a lot. There's some deal that there was like in the 1940s where they which was a Republican president, by the way, at the time. But they divert. There's basically like some sort of rationing or something. What is it? Basically, they have to use all this water, and if they don't use it, they don't get it, and they lose it, sort of thing. So all the farmers upriver are just like making all these like really water heavy crops. And then the river's going dry further down the stream or something. And I'm like, just stop doing that.
Oh, it's even worse than that. In the Owens Valley, used to be a lush green valley. It was on the it was kind of between Death Valley and Yosemite. And the city of Los Angeles more or less stole all the water out of that valley. Back in the 40s, there was a term called the Mojave water stealers that was used as a slur for these people. And Los Angeles also dammed up a place called Hetch Hetchy, which was like, close by to Yosemite. And it was just as grand as Yosemite, just to get Los Angeles water. we waste if you're looking at total resources, trying to conserve resources, the United States has wasted a lot of resources on keeping the Los Angeles basin watered. And it's just, people wonder why they're running out of water at the hydrant. It says, well, dude, you're stealing.
The next thing we're on about doing is connecting another river to it. Which river did I just say? The one that goes through the Grand Canyon?
The Colorado.
Is now they reckon it'll be the largest engineering project for nearly a century. And they're going to connect the Colorado to another river to try to basically get water through. And I was like, I tell you what, man, as we all switch to electric cars and we've got all these tankers that don't need to, move oil around anymore, do you want some water? We've got crap loads. Seriously. The Lake District rains 300 days of the year. We could just fill a few tankers up, got over to you. It's great. We could just, we could dam the River Thames for you.
Sure.
It doesn't go anywhere. So seriously, I've actually thought about this. I am partly taking the piss, but I'm also partly thinking at some point there are parts of the world that are genuinely going to need. We're the next Middle East, mate, because water is going to be one of the most valuable resources in the next century for like 3/4 of the planet.
That's true.
you're going to be looking at us. We're going to be going there like it's drizzling, and you'll be like, you bastards. And but I'm saying that we're going to start pumping water into tankers and shipping it around the world. The way things are going, it's insane.
The desalination plants would be wonderful. They're just so expensive, and the output isn't necessarily at the rate that we don't necessarily have a good output for the rate of people that need it. So
environmentally as well, they're a nightmare.
Yeah,
they really are a nightmare. You basically get like the byproduct is basically like saline. It's like a thick, salty gloop. And because we don't know what to do with it, we dump it back in the ocean. And it's basically poison. So yeah, desalination plants. There's really good technologies about like new desalination ones that use like a filtering technique rather than, because the main way basically what they do now is they basically boil it, and the water comes off, and you get fresh water and all the crap leaves.
Then you have then you have the leftover salt and whatever critters, the desiccated bodies of the critters that were like in the water.
Jelly basically gets left over. It's horrible crap. But there's, like I said, there's filtering technologies that are coming through. They were trying to use graphene, like a graphene mesh, to try to thing, and obviously that would be less power hungry as well, because basically it's got to pump the water up and just let it sit, just wait for it to sort of filter through, sort of thing. And then all you really get left over is salt, which obviously we could use. And yeah, like you said, any bio crap that was in the water. But desalination plants are going to be important if we can figure out a way to do it that's
cleanly.
Well, also cheaply, because it's
the long-term solution. The long-term solution for this is definitely wiser uses of resources. People need to stop moving into the LA basin. To be honest, there is, even if we, loaded up the California coast with saline desalination plants, it almost wouldn't be enough. Because California's got 40 million people, 20 million of that is just in the LA basin, and it's unsustainable. They can. I don't care how much water you divert, you're not going to get enough there to do the job for these kinds of events. And these kinds of events are going to get more and more frequent. I mean, there's just the water literally isn't. I mean, the water in the West isn't enough to fix that problem. And there's water problems all over the West, just not LA basin.
Well, in the UK a few years ago, I know we were going to talk about the fires, we're talking about water. There was actually talk about doing a pipeline basically between Scotland and London, because London had grown so fast it had outstripped its a water supply. And they didn't in the end. Again, this was going to be the largest engineering project since Victorian times in the UK, sort of thing, because they were having droughts every year. But they solved it through, they connected a couple of water areas closer so that they could shift the water around a bit better. But basically they cut waste, and massively cut waste, and spent money on the infrastructure they had and upgraded it all, and it hasn't been a problem since. So waste and management is a big part of it, but also, I mean, just basic things like don't make everybody grow avocados 100 miles up the bloody river when you don't need them. It's just like
a little bit north of LA in the San Joaquin Valley near Bakersfield and Shafter, California. There's a company called Wonder, and they grow a fuck ton of pistachios. And pistachios is like the most water thirsty plant you can possibly have. And they grow it in the desert.
And they make me poo.
And they make you poo.
They do. They really do not agree with me.
They have great commercials.
Yeah,
commercials. They got their own airport, and they own probably much of the water resources in California. That company does, or the billionaire couple behind the company.
Oh, you're talking about the Fiji couple?
I don't remember their last name, but they have controlling interest over the Wonder company.
Is that over the 60% of water rights in California?
Yeah.
I don't remember their last name, but they're the couple that owns Fiji Water.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. Let's see.
I can Google it real quick as well.
We're not allowed to talk about politics, but there's one thing that jumped to mind as soon as you said Fiji Water, but I won't bring him up. We'll move on. But mainly though, mate, how are you? How are the people you know?
And drive. How easy is it to drive to Tehachapi? For God's sake, dude.
So far, so good. The thing that is my like litmus test is we've still had blue skies the entire time. Not necessarily on all 4 directions, but where I am in the valley itself has been blue skies the whole time, which has been nice. If you leave my house, get on one of the main streets and turn, it's not as blue any longer. The other day it was heading from Sherman Oaks kind of direction, and I think that was just wind, but it looked fairly gnarly. It was mostly smoky just coming from that direction. That's kind of died out over the last 2 days, and in the last 2 days, if you go the other direction towards, I was just on the phone with Chazz earlier this morning, who hopefully will pop in a little bit, where he used to be. He used to live 5, 6, 7 minutes down the road from me. You would kind of go down Main Street and then turn down towards him, and that direction is, I think, south. Yeah, it is south. So the Palisades fire is southeast of me right now, and it has to go over one big ridge. And if it gets over that ridge, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge because it's just got a lot of tinder just to burn. But it's a lot to get over that ridge. And there's a golf course that doesn't have much to burn in between us and there. And there's also a little smaller reservoir. So fingers crossed. But it's getting closer, and if you go that way, you don't see smoke anymore. You see the orange glow if you turn down that way. I haven't really been that way in the last day myself.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily stare at the glow all the time, but to know it's there and to know which direction it is necessary, and just kind of start planning which way you're going to go if you need to go somewhere.
Because the people. Where are all the people that are getting evacuated going?
Every direction. I mean, Airbnb's offering free housing for everybody. Not everybody, but if you are an evacuee and can show that you have a residency that you live in LA, they're offering you Airbnbs for free. I think in north and south directions. I'm not sure east. I guess I haven't heard much east, but that's more desert, and there's some stuff out there that you could stay in. But Vegas was literally my first thought. My first thought was, if I gotta go somewhere, I'm gonna just wait it out in Vegas for a few days, you know? I don't know if that would be my ultimate plan, because South might be a better decision, but I don't know.
Canada! Canada was on fire a couple of years ago, so you can't even go to Canada.
I know that Lyft and Uber are both offering free rides to evacuees to get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that yesterday, and yeah, Vegas would be. A friend of mine works for a JPL. She creates all the chips for the Martian rovers. She lost her house early this week, and I know that JPL itself was under threat. I don't even know what happened. I know part of the wind did a lot of damage to JPL. I don't know if the fire has gotten down there, to the facility or not. But yeah, it does not discriminate. It is vicious. And yeah, have a backup plan, have a bug out bag, and get some place to go. She went to her daughter's house, and I don't know. That's something.
I also estimates for how much damage has already been caused, and it's in the billions already.
It was billions the first day.
The best visual representation that I've been able to see just from people posting on their stories or Instagrams, Facebooks, whatever. This girl I know that was in Euphoria with me, really cool girl. She posted this morning was, I guess just to help you visualize how large the scale of just the Palisades fire is, the one that's south of me. It alone is 47.5 square miles, and Boston is 48 square miles. It's half of 1 square mile less than the entire city of Boston right now, which is that's one fire. And the Eaton fire is, thankfully, that one, I believe, let me check the old Watch Duty app, because that thing is our saving grace right now. Okay, cell phone.
What's the name of the app again?
Watch Duty.
Watch
This
Duty.
Duty.
One right here.
Oh, gotcha.
It's
Okay.
really good about telling you which fire's what.
But I mean, it's hitting the city. That's the thing I don't get, because you'd think it would be concrete.
Well,
It's burning through the city.
The infrastructure of LA is old. It's 70, 80 years old. It's all the 30s and 40s and 20s, all that golden era of Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's where everything's built, and everything else that's been built since then can't necessarily tear stuff like that down because it has a historic landmark kind of thing to it. So you just build on top. You build on top. You build on top. Well, that's why the trees aren't burning, because the wind's so fast. Trees have all that water in them. They treated wood, all the houses with treated wood tend to, they're not all of them, but they're having a lot more trouble burning because they're newer and they have water stuck inside of them where they have some strength. Those old buildings.
Wooden houses, though, don't you, as well in the UK? So
yeah,
a lot more timber. We don't. So all houses are brick, pretty much.
Yeah, no. The part of my house right now that I'm in is the old part of it. I think it was built in the 30s. If an ember comes this way, it's gone. You know. And that's what a lot of the buildings are. It's just that old infrastructure. It can't survive it.
And obviously you've got embers that are blowing, which it can jump roads. It can jump, you know, things. It can jump distance if it needs to, and it can keep burning. Crazy. I've seen the planes are all going over and dumping crap loads on it, and
they are. Sorry, my face. I'm deciding. I found the Watch Duty app for the web. I just don't know if I want to put my exact location on for a live stream necessarily.
I wouldn't while you're in LA, and there are crazy people in LA.
Yeah, I'm
not
gonna
as
say
subscribers.
Don't
Obviously,
allow.
they're all amazing. But
Put your location at a bank.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, do the
here we go. I just did it without my location. So this gives us a bit of a better viewpoint right here. Technically, this is the thing that's been weird for me lately, is I'm in this region right here, and currently it's at a red flag warning, which is, technically from the way I've read it, is the same thing as fire evac warning, which is all this yellow area. But it's also be cautious because of the wind can change and change anything anytime.
I guess you got to make sure where the wind is going to figure out which road to get out of the mess.
Oh, totally. And there's some, like, the fire map that LA Fire Department has on is nice, but all its entire red area just shows smoke. So it makes you really scared because you think that the fire is this giant encapsulating thing over the entire county, and it's not as bad as the fire map that LA Fire Department makes it look.
This dark
like
red is where it's on fire, though, I assume.
Yeah.
This is that
all the dark red is the fire. This is evacuation order. This light red with all the little flags in there. Yellow, this darker yellow is the evac warning. I guess, yeah, this is the darker yellow, and this is just fire weather watch. So the light yellow is just fire weather watch, and we're probably between the fire weather watch and the evac. So we're like some in-betweeny weenie, for lack of a better term right now. Shoot.
I saw some of those. Did you see the videos of the tornadoes, the fire tornadoes?
Oh, those things are insane.
I mean, they're beautiful, but they're terrifying. Beautiful. I did think, Satan's just been born, because that's the sort of thing you would see like that. That's nice.
Hey, we're finally getting a good Hellboy movie. Here we go.
But I mean, it's terrifying. You just whipping up and like, but you don't appreciate how big they are. I sort of Googled it and
I got Stormy with that one.
You got to keep that sense of humor there, Harris. Jesus.
It's the only way we're getting through this shit. Like, it's the only way.
Yeah. We had snow yesterday, so we're good. It's scary when you actually know. I mean, it's bad enough you see it on the news and it's fucking terrifying. But when you actually know somebody is that close to it, it's like, I mean, through the house, I know a couple of people that way. A couple of people that I get to speak to, sort of thing, through different things. I've had to evacuate. I know one person has lost their house already. I know somebody else who doesn't know if he has or not. He doesn't know. Because he's basically had to evacuate, and he said the wind did shift, so apparently the fire sort of slowed or moved went in a different direction. So he said he's not 100% certain. That was yesterday. I think he probably knows by now, but that was yesterday.
Yeah, hopefully he's had time to check, because the parts of the communities that have been burned that are reopening and allowing people to go in have curfews at 6 p.m. They're not allowed to even enter back in or try to enter back in after 6 p.m. So there was some guy on the news yesterday, this 70, 80-year-old guy that was just livid. And you can imagine he spent the last 40, 50 years in this one spot. It's his family home, raised his kids there, et cetera, et cetera. Been waiting since 8:30 in the morning. The line was too long for him to get in by 6 p.m. to go see if his house was even still standing. So he just parked his car and just started walking, which there's plenty of people doing that, but how much more traffic does that cause? And if the wind does shift again and the fire goes a different direction, what kind of problems does that cause again? There's all kinds of little things.
A bit of this that did bring me some comedy, which did make me giggle, was there's a news report, and this guy runs up and he goes, look, if you are going to abandon your vehicle and walk, leave your keys in the vehicle, because we need to be able to move it, or where to get out of the way of the fire trucks, all right? And the news report goes, oh my God, that's really good advice, sir. Can I take your name? He goes, Steve Guttenberg? It's like Steve Guttenberg. How did you know it was Steve Guttenberg? He was the highest grossing actor of the 1980s, for God's sake. But I liked it, though, because it was like Steve Guttenberg didn't go, Steve Guttenberg, sort of thing. Like, he wasn't like a lovey about it. He just went, Steve Guttenberg?
Yeah.
It was great. But yeah, he's there shifting cars. He's going up and down the thing, trying to shift cars out of the Palisades, to try to get the fire trucks can get through. Like you said, what did you say, Stormy? It's not. It'll take out anyone's house. Obviously, somebody with multi-millionaire has got a little bit more resources to recover afterwards. But
Bob was saying in the comments, like, most of the Western U.S. is only habitable through continuous terraforming. I mean, what LA is based on is not terraforming. I mean, if you're actually terraforming, trying to, like some of the guys that's done in Africa to take, to actually cease the encroachment of the desert and actually have ecosystems, just piping the water in and just, having fountains and swimming pools everywhere. That's not it. I mean, terraforming is a process of ecologically changing the area where whatever water is there can start growing, plant life.
I know what Bob means, though, by saying that. It's
but there's lots of places in the West where that does occur. Like here in New Mexico, it's the biggest chili. It's the chili capital of the world. But they get the water from the Rio Grande and the aquifers underneath. We don't ship the water in from 300 miles away. And also one of the other comments was
sorry guys. There we go.
Also, a lot of states, I saw in the comments, some Canadians are down have come to fight the fires in LA, and so is Seattle. I think every Western state has chipped. I mean, I even know here in Las Vegas.
A bunch of firefighters. Yeah, a bunch of firefighters from Mexico.
Canada, Texas.
And here, Las Cruces, we sent like 2 tanker trucks, I think it was, and a couple crews. I mean, that's just a drop in a bucket, but every little bit helps. And it's good to see, and it is good, I think, to see people that don't live there doing, what they can to help. Yeah, and that's just incredible. Proving that not all humans are assholes.
It's and I get it. Everyone hates LA, and you know what? LA has a lot of reasons to hate it. But at the same time, it is outside of New York and London and just a few very select cities in the world. Sure, we don't all live here. Sure, we don't all visit here all the time, but we all know it, and we all know street names. We all know neighborhoods to some degree. There aren't many places in the world, the known world that we are, that we all know like that we can all
it's
have
one of the most famous cities on the planet.
Yeah, so you hear the news and people are just it's discouraging from all over the world, and it's amazing that the people from everywhere and every walk of life are coming here to help because it needs it.
I was kind of amazed when Hurricane Helene went through and destroyed most of western North Carolina, places where no one has ever heard of except for people that live there, you know, dropped what they're doing and headed to the Carolina mountains, you know, from Florida and Ohio and, you know, Texas and as far away as California. I mean, it is always heartening that when we get kicked in the teeth by Mother Nature, we all just drop what we're doing and help. You know, even if we're just spreading the word. Okay, good. You know, here's a resource for this, or if you're homeless, go check out this shelter. Even if we're 1,000 miles away, there's always ways we can help through social media and getting the word out on how to help people.
Yeah. It's always the only thing that shocks me more than how shitty humanity is to each other is how amazing we can be to each other.
Yeah.
When things go wrong. Remember, like the years ago, the Boxing Day tsunami.
Yeah.
I mean, that did affect people all over the world because they were holiday makers. So people did actually know people that were like, oh, Jesus, I know somebody that's in the islands and something. So, but the UK sent millions, I mean, tens of millions of things, but also clothes. And I mean, we went full bore. And within 2 or 3 days, there was a thing with the cash machine that is when you were getting cash out, you could donate if you wanted to. They just, you know, sorted it sort of thing. You know, that was pretty amazing. And when we have floods in the UK, you know, everything goes, which is, you'd fucking love a flood. Be amazing right now, wouldn't it?
Outside of the mudslides.
Yeah, massive rainfall now, and those man-made rivers all fill up. Like, oh my God, there is a God. But
we're gonna have mudslides like nobody's business.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. But you help out that way. It's like, oh God.
But people can be kind to it. Can we? Our ability to be vile is astonishing, but our ability to be loving is just as astonishing.
One to answer, Carrie, I've lived in California several times. Right now, I'm in New Mexico. And Bob, man, I tell you, Chinatown is a really good dramatic movie on how all this mess started. You know, there's also a Ken Burns documentary series about America's national parks, and he talks at length of the destruction of Hetch Hetchy in California just for water. And on just to brag a little bit on myself, I've got a video on YouTube called Mono Lake, and that covers some of the history of the water depletion of some of the central valleys here, not here in California, but in California, that also causes multiple problems. Like one of the places that, because the water is no longer there in the Owens Valley of California, it has created the largest source of airborne dust in North America from the former Owens Lake. So,
wouldn't you want to live by that?
I wouldn't mind living in Bishop, but you know, I mean, everywhere in California has water problems, and it's mostly everyone shooting themselves in the foot, thinking, "Oh, we need it here, so let's just get it from there." And they're really not thinking, "Well, if we get it from there, what are we destroying?" And you know, it's just this horrible water management. And the Department of Interior, like Jay was saying earlier on, concerning the contracts of water distribution here in the American West, the American government promised these farmers and ranchers that, yeah, we will always supply you water. I mean, forever. And the water run out. And now, I mean, the idea of the mighty Colorado River drying up, I mean, it's insane. The idea of it drying up is insane. I crossed the Colorado River probably 3-4 weeks ago, and it was about the size of some creeks in West Virginia.
Oh.
it was you could have walked across it and not got your shirt wet. I mean, it is
Worse than the LA River?
Oh, well, not as worse. Not as worse as the LA River.
That one might be the worst.
Usually the LA River is just a skateboard park.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
But yeah, this was in this is in California, near I guess it was near Joshua Tree or a little bit northeast of Joshua Tree that I crossed, and it was just hardly anything in it. I mean, it was just dry as a bone, and it was the mighty Colorado that, one of the biggest river systems in the United States when I was born, and now it's a creek. It's devastating. It is devastating, and no one is really.
Dams are great, and they can provide a lot of energy and do a lot of really good things. But human greed doesn't necessarily help the dam. And when you have like resources like water, that's just come on. I don't know if I have the answer or anybody does.
That's the problem, isn't it, with a dam?
Yeah,
it's a very useful thing, like you said, because you can prevent a lot of water just dumping into the sea that you want, that you need. But they need to be done responsibly.
Yeah.
Need to consider what I mean. In China, they're building like a dam every 2 or 3 weeks or something, and some of them but it's to hell with the rest of the world. And Cambodia and countries like this are really suffering for it, and their rivers are drying up. They're having to wait for the wet rainy seasons, and a lot of these people they rely on the rivers.
And every year those rainy seasons diminish more and more because there's less rains
or get worse, depending on where you are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just why we need to remember it's not global warming, people. It's climate change. It's different, even though we are warming. It's certain places are going to get wetter. Certain places will get drier. And
well, we've talked a lot about. I mean, just the whole dams and the rivers and everything like that. The Columbia River is dammed to hell, and that would help California so much. Canada has literally what New Brunswick guy is saying. Canada is blocking up a lot of water. Colorado would help just from the U.S. perspective alone, but Canada's blocking off a lot of water, and that was
apologized about it though, didn't they?
Yeah, and a certain somebody just resigned. So there's a lot of stuff going on up there, and that's a whole different can of worms.
Why would they need a dam up there? For energy. It's going to be for water purposes. It's going to be for energy, is it?
That's my thought process. Is just more clean energy, and which is a good optic as well. But optics don't help when it affects hundreds of thousands of millions of lives down the road or down the river, quite literally. Real quick, before we go any further, though, Carrie did send in a member chat and a $2 chat, and she's still in recovery. So thank you for just being here and hanging out with us. We know
you get better. You're
going through the thick of it, just like all of us, just in a different way. We got freezing winds going on, fiery winds going on, health bats going on. Welcome to 2025.
It got off to such a robust start, didn't it?
The 2020s have sucked.
They have sucked ass.
Every year is something new. It's just like pandemic. Who knew that the pandemic would be the best bit?
Yeah,
I got to stay in for 3 months.
This was the first New Year since 2020, and if y'all remember 2020, I don't know how y'all felt, but especially out here, it was like, all right, this is gonna be a good year. We got the roaring 20s in a new century. Let's do this, Yeah, that lasted 3 months. This one lasted about 3 days because I started this year off pretty excited. I was like, okay, year of the Trek. We got a lot going on. It's still going to be the damn year of the Trek. We're taking over the internet this year.
Also got another video on this topic on my SciWorks channel. It's called the Myth of Raking California. And California is definitely always in a fire hazard. But raking the forest is not the problem for California wildfires because most of California is not forest. West Virginia is the third most forested state, and they don't have these wildfires. It's basically a problem of soil moisture. There's not enough moisture in the soil to put out an ember or a lit cigarette or something. But I go through the issues, again, trying to avoid politics, but it was claimed that if you just rake California, the forests of California, everything would be fine. No, it won't be fine. Because I was I filmed it standing in a patch that had just been burned through on the side of the road. And there's not a tree in sight because there never was any trees. And some truckers came by and flirted with me, but that's beside the point.
Everywhere you go, somebody's flirting with you.
Where was your thumb and what
It's
direction
the
was
habit,
it?
isn't it? It's the
Yeah,
habit.
it's all sad.
Yeah.
But so we can fix all these problems, but we don't have the political will on either side of the aisle. And the farmers do not want to give up on that promise from the federal government that they'll have all the water they want. If you travel around Kern County, which is a couple counties up from where Harris is at, there's all these signs that says, "Is it a sin to grow food?" That's the farmer's take. Why not build a dam to save up all the water? Well, the dam is useless because then it just restricts flow downstream. And also the dam is useless because there's not enough water to put in the dam. You're always going to be running at a very, very low level. And there's a guy on YouTube that has a channel that's just full of water propaganda. And, if the farmers weren't growing such water intensive crops, it is, they have a right to grow food, and there's nothing wrong with growing food. But if you've only got so many resources, something my great grandfather told me, you don't plant things in the bottomland unless you've got the creek that can feed it, running past it. And that old Appalachian wisdom didn't seem to make it out of the Appalachian Hills, and certainly didn't make it to Congress. But it's just the snowpack in California, which feeds specifically Owens Valley and the San Joaquin Valley. San Joaquin Valley is responsible. California is responsible for 1/3 or 25%, 1/4 of the food in America sold. And it's all industrial. It's running at really high efficiencies, and there's no real thinking about how much water they're using just to grow the crop. There's this one field when I was living there. I drive to work all the time, and it'd be like 100 degrees near Shafter, California, and they would be doing aerial. Or not, they would be doing, they'd have these water sprinklers that were made to shoot out a large mist. Because this was I forget, it was like something they were growing that shouldn't have been growing in the desert. But they were using huge volumes of water to keep these plants alive. And 90% or 95% of the water did not go into the plant. It was just wasted and evaporated into the air. And there's so much water wasted like that. There'd be times I'd be driving to work in the morning, and right when you come to an irrigated field, there's a fog bank. Some of the thickest fog banks I've ever had to drive through. And then as soon as you pass the fog bank goes away, because that's how much water is wasted into the air from these inefficient farming means. And that's it. So the farmers are really going to have to start deciding on what they're going to grow based on the resources that they've got.
I figured out how we can solve this. Got it. Right. The Scottish hate being part of Britain. Right. They actually had a referendum, and they keep trying to separate. So get Trump to buy Scotland and then move it to California.
Don't suggest it. He'll start thinking about it. The
invasion of Greenland won't take very long. So once you've invaded Greenland, buy Scotland. You won't get it for very much. Like I'm literally a couple of bottles of whiskey and a packet of crisps. You can have it. We don't want it. And it's got loads of water. It pisses down in Scotland every damn day. So just have it. It's fine. Okay,
Grip.
Sorted. Solution.
That's a good point, Brain Pain.
Yep. You're going to have to. This is the problem, isn't it? They've got to come up with solutions to save water, and we can take the piss, obviously, but I mean, it's going to be the oil of the 22nd century sort of thing. water will be one of the most valuable resources on planet Earth. I honestly think so.
I think it already is. I mean, even in the previous century, there's lots of wars, where, land resources, water and food availability was one of the reasons why. I mean, let's look at Ukraine. Ukraine has what, 25% or 30% of the world's most fertile soil, what's called black soil. And, they literally they were before the war, breadbasket of a lot of places, especially Eastern Europe and a lot of places in Russia. And, I think, that's one reason I think Putin wants it, is because of its agricultural abilities, capabilities.
Yeah. Oh, and all the minerals and probably oil.
Then there's that, and the lithium. That's like,
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, we don't even want Scotland. I mean, the people that live in Greenland want to actually stay there, but we don't even want it.
David said, give it to him for free.
Trump can't come into the UK at all.
Oh, wow.
He's a convicted felon. We don't allow convicted felons in the UK. I think there is you can get a special diplomatic dispensation sort of thing. But legally, without some sort of agreement beforehand. Thank you, Juliet. You're a legend. Thank you, Lester. I mean, for God's sake, why can't I get Atkinson Stanley or something like that? God's sake. But
yes, California is in the Star Trek universe. San Francisco is the headquarters for Starfleet and Starfleet.
Starfleet Academy is there as well. So
this brain pain thing is it's making me think. It's bringing me some brain pain. Would we be like places that are close to the sea, close to the ocean? Could they pump in salt water and use that? Not necessarily flush it back out to the ocean every time, of course, but instead of using fresh water, couldn't you just use salt water near the ocean?
You'd have to have a completely second water system put in.
Would it be corroded?
You'd have to have two pipes instead of one everywhere, wouldn't you? You'd have to have like but I take your point. We you sometimes get saltwater swimming pools, don't you? I know they're not ocean water, though, are they? But just like lightly filtered sort of thing, rather than full on desalination.
Peter Moore has the really good comment. Once you start using salt water on wildfires, especially aerial dispersal, nothing in that canyon will grow. I mean, or you'll get very, very little vegetation afterwards because you've literally salted the earth. Then you get erosion and landslide issues.
The one thing is actually though, there's a desalination technology that uses solar power. So I mean, you've got sunlight.
Plenty of it, as long as it's not blocked out by smoke.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, there are technologies that can be used. It can be pumped in, and just by the comments going in, I am joking about Scotland. I love Scotland too. I love that we invaded Scotland and have dominated them ever since. I'm joking. And we didn't even let them have a language for like 400 years. But sorry.
Oh God,
whiskey's nice. No, I'm genuinely joking. I'm British. I like being British. I love Scotland, Britain, England. So please don't. I am joking. I'm taking the piss. But we will sell you some water. No problem. We'll swap it for some of the debt we owe you. We'll swap your water for debt. But yeah, one of my closest friends is Scottish. So that just took me to one of the things. It's like one of my closest friends is gay. Sorry, just amusing. Anyway, what was I going to say?
I have no idea. You've been around for a good bit.
What was I saying before? I was distracted by the everyone calling me a racist for hating the Scottish, which nobody did, by the way. But I was saying something sensible before that.
First we were talking about Manchester United.
Desalination. Yeah,
and then
desalination of the solar power. Yeah.
It is possible because basically all you have to do is you have to have quite a large area but it's quite shallow. And basically what you do is you use mirrors and stuff. It's not even really solar powered. It's solar powered as in it's powered by the sun. But you allow the sun to
multiply almost.
Evaporate the water. But then you get left with a film of salt. Basically, you have to filter it and then put it onto like a thing and let it evaporate, and then you pump off the thing. The problem is you need a massive area to create, a usable amount of water. But it's basically free once it's built. You just pump the water in, and it's basically just you pump the water in and pump off the steam sort of thing. So it's once it's built, it's free, but it's not. I don't know how much water you actually get out of it.
Aye.
It's basically built on a survival technique. You can actually do it if ever you get caught in the desert and you're in trouble, sort of thing. You dig a hole and you use plastic sheeting in the bottom, and you pee into the plastic sheeting, and then you put plastic sheeting on top with a hole on it with the cup directly underneath the hole, the stone. Sorry, so the plastic sheeting on top of the stone, so it becomes concave, sort of thing. And then you put the cup underneath, and your pee will evaporate. The condensation hits the plastic thing, rolls down, and then goes straight into the cup, and you get fresh water. So you can, or if you just got really dirty water, you can do the same. If you've got water that's going to give you a thing. It's basically that on a massive scale. But I did that once in the desert, and I got about that much water. I did, so
drink more beer.
Bear Grylls it.
Exactly, it's what we did. It's what we did in the dark, in Victorian times. The water gave you scurvy or whatever it was, so you drank beer and mead. So there you go. Drink more beer.
I approve.
Yep. That's not going to help with the wildfires, but unless you
closest thing that I can think of, just to give an example of mirrors, I have this tab that, of course, this is passive solar and different variations.
That is actually a molten salt reactor sort of thing here.
This is in right outside of Las Vegas. It's a bunch of solar panels and mirrors that kind of, I guess, might do something like that on a much larger.
That's the molten salt. So basically, in the tower, it's salt basically, and the mirrors focus the light on it and heat up the salt, and then that's used to generate electricity in the turbine. They're not actually solar panels; they're just mirrors.
Yeah, and that's the scale of that thing, which is
it's huge. If you're flying into Los Angeles, or if you're got a Houston to Vegas route, sometimes you'll be routed and you'll see these things. There's like 3 of them or 2 of them in a row, and they're just bright ass lights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that you can see from your airliner seat, and there's no mistaking them, man. I mean, they're there and they work.
They generate a crap load of energy as well.
Crap load.
I haven't thought about it till we were just talking about it right here, right now. But I'm sure you can probably see this stuff from space, if I had to guess.
Oh God, yeah.
It'd have to be visible to some degree like that.
Just thinking about Trump, just quickly, because I'm not getting into trouble again, I promise. But he wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of the USA.
Right. Yes, I've read that on Truth Social.
Will he rename New Mexico New USA?
New USA.
You can't leave it New Mexico, can you?
Oh God!
It cracked me up yesterday. I saw a couple fun memes that said Gulf of Whataburger, and which is like the Whataburger,
new Whataburger, yeah,
the best version of any fast food there is, of course. And then after that, the next one was instead of, because it's Whataburger, there's What a Chicken, there's all this different thing. They said instead of the Gulf of Whataburger, why not just call it What a Gulf? And I'm in for it. If there's a name change, I'm in for What a Gulf. That's the only one I'm approving.
Gulf of the USA, sponsored by British Petroleum.
Well, God knows they lease a lot of.
How about the Gulf? What does this have to do with grocery prices?
Yeah. Because we grow so many chickens in the Gulf of Mexico, such a big country.
Was it The Daily Show? And then they were talking about that. They were saying, he said he wants to merge Canada even though he then said to make Canada the 51st state, right? So yes, so I was saying that's not merging, that's taking over. That's like if you make it the 51st state, you're making it part of the USA. If two companies merge, they don't go, okay, well, I don't know, two companies. Coca-Cola is merging with Pepsi. We're now going to be called Coca-Cola. That's not how you know, you could be called Coca-Cola Pepsi or something, don't you? You know, like you have to merge the two things. So I did that. It was funny. But I was just wondering, on the joke on the Daily Show was, we can't take over Canada. That's where I pretend to be from when I go abroad. And that's how they call me.
Jen, have you read anything about American history? Have you read anything about American history past the 13 British colonies? That's the way America does it. It either conquers it, you know, like in hell, we took 40% of Mexico in the Mexican-American War. The rest we bought or just stole from the Native Americans. Yeah. This is a national tradition, almost sad as it is.
Again, I do not agree with anything I say in the next 5 minutes. All right, I'm joking. But I had an argument with an American a couple of years ago, and he threatened to kill me. And he actually went out of his way, like messaging my friends and things, telling me, trying to get my address. He wanted to hurt me. And I basically argued, because I was in a mood, that America should give back the 13 states, because the War of Independence wasn't technically a war. It was an act of terror. And if you really don't like terrorism and you keep saying, you know, you're having a war on terror, you know, you'd be hypocrites really not to give back Philadelphia. So, so I had this argument with him. And I don't know if it was that my argument kind of made sense in a sick and twisted way, or that I knew American history better than he did, because he kept saying it was a war of independence. I go, no, it was called the War of Independence afterwards. There was actually no declaration of war, because you can't, because you were a colony, not a country. So it would no anyway. So I made the argument. He was mad, really angry, and I don't believe it. I was just trying to wind him up, but oh my god, it worked. It's like, I'm an argumentative shit when I want to be. But yeah, we actually don't want Philadelphia back anyway. You can keep that.
Are you sure you can have it? All we want is the TV show that comes from it.
Like yeah, no, you keep Philly. We'll have the other 12. We'll have Florida instead. Just
no. We like our crazy Floridians. We like to. There are scapegoats. Florida's our scapegoat. We need our crazy.
Keep the rest. You can keep the Florida Keys and that. Don't know.
Really, that's the one part you should.
I want Universal Studios. I just want that. Just give us Disneyland and Universal Studios and that place that you can swim with dolphins. And we'll call it even.
In the place swimming with dolphins, isn't that called Hawaii?
Give us Hawaii. Harris,
thank you.
Stormy, thank you. Genius. Give us Hawaii. We'll call it even.
Yeah, no one needs to ask a Florida man, right? Yeah, no one needs to ask the Hawaiians what they want to do. No one really ever has.
No.
I have thought about it a bit more. Yeah, no, I don't want Florida.
Or the Navajo, or the Cherokee, or the Pueblo, or any just.
Well, that is human history. Truly, that's animal history. Animals are animals, and we forget that we're animals. We're just a little smarter, but we still have the same instincts. You know, it's it boils down to fairly simple most of the time. But woo! We're growing as a species. It's slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
Not really.
Mike said swap kilt land for Hawaii.
There you go. You have Scotland, we'll have Hawaii. Plan.
I guess we traded our one destination spot to another, I guess. Okay. It's about the same flight-wise, you know, shoot.
Isn't it like in Scotland, isn't it like the official animal of Scotland a unicorn?
Yeah, isn't it?
I
think it's something crazy like that.
I don't think they've got any animals in Scotland. We cut all the trees down and they all died.
Let's see. SCOTLA.
Generally, I wouldn't know that. I think the official bird of Scotland is Susan, this slutty redhead who lives in Edinburgh.
Let's see. Yes, the unicorn is Scotland's national animal. There we go.
Okay. I did not know that.
From nts.org.uk.
Oh, at least the eagle is the majestic golden eagle of Scotland. That's a little bit better than the unicorn.
They've got a few. They virtually went extinct 20, 30 years ago. But there's a decent population. The red kites in England again were virtually extinct, and now they're all the way down. I see red kites all the time now. We've had a really good conservation thing in the last few years. But basically, Scotland used to be a massive oak woodland, and we went nah, and cut it all down to build warships. And now we're now Scotland is just empty.
Oh God, that was cutting. You all right, Jay? Are you bleeding anywhere after that one?
I like without Scott. Yeah, I did like.
That was pretty funny too.
Yeah,
and that one was really good too. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it they're saying? There's only about 12 countries on the planet that England hasn't invaded at some point.
Yeah. Someone said, I think it was Monk, was like, if I believe correctly, the American Revolution is just a blip in the British textbooks or whatever. How could it not be? There's been 75, 90,000 different revolutions over time. You just got this entire textbook is just revolutions against you.
What is it? It's like the UK is responsible for the Independence Day of like over.
We normally give them back. It's like India. Okay, they kicked off a bit, but then we gave it back.
They kicked off a lot.
We just went, have your independence.
Everyone kicked off pretty big first,
but we gave it back.
The pub landlord does a good bit on it.
The pub landlord does a bit on us. There isn't a country on the planet that we haven't defeated. We have beaten. We've won every war we were involved in. And then as somebody idiot goes, the American Civil War, and he points out that the first conflict you lost.
Wait, is the pub landlord an actual channel or a person?
He's Al Murray. He's pub landlord. I'll send you a link for it later. He's very, very good. He's basically playing a character, but his knowledge of history is astonishing.
Is it bad that when I read the pub landlord, I just assumed Peter was talking about the UK? I just thought it was England.
No, he's a pub landlord, and he does a character that's the pub landlord who's very sort of like he's not very bright and a bit left wing, and
he just does real quick.
Englanding in the moon, because who would we get against? I finished with it. Yeah.
Pub landlord needs a thing on that.
Yeah, Al Murray. That's the thing is we can't be bothered going to the moon as well, because there's no art to steal and put in our museums. So I mean, why would we bother? It does crack me up, and this is me being genuinely serious now for half a second. It does crack me up that you go to the British Museum and it's full of Egyptian artifacts. It's like the British Museum.
Not the Cairo Museum or something like.
Yeah, this is the shit we stole. Museum. We stole all this shit. And then countries say, "Can we have it back?" And we go, "No." Like, I'm sorry, we've had it 100 years. That's because you invaded us 100 years ago. Give it back.
Give it back.
No.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yes.
Tony said Sweden's one of the few countries that's never been invaded by the Brits.
Too cold.
So far. It's always the year is young.
It's like there's only about 12 countries that we haven't invaded, and 8 of them didn't exist during the time of the Empire. So we would have done if they'd have existed. So it's just like we'd have had a go at least. But I just think that's astonishing. It's like one of them is like the Solomon Islands or something like that. It was like because it's nowhere near anything. And we probably sailed past it thinking, should we invade that? Because no, I've had enough of invasions there. We've invaded 3 countries already, man. Let's just go get lunch.
They probably thought they already had. They're like, oh no, we did that last week. Turned out, no, they just forgot.
Yeah, and they just forgot.
Isn't it true that the UK is responsible for 50 independent days of countries around the world?
Yeah, but because we're lovely though, because we gave them back eventually, not their resources or art. We kept that. It's like, when you've got like really like a relationship and stuff, and then when the relationship breaks down, she's like, I want all my stuff back. But if they've got anything good though, it's like if they've got like an original vinyl Queen album or something, you're just like, oh, I can't find it, love, and you keep it. That's basically what England did with the entire world, like all of it. We just kept all the good bits. It's like, ooh, shiny, we'll have that. Ooh, historically relevant, we'll have that.
Tell that to the Irish.
But yeah, you know how proud to be British I am. I'm actually proud of the British Empire because I'm just like, how did we manage that? There's a comedian over here called Eddie Izzard, and he joked that it was because we used the mighty weapon of the flag. So we turned up at countries and we go, oh, hello, have you got a flag? And the local, people was going, no, what a flag? What you want about me? I've got a flag. Go, excellent.
Flag.
And they're like, shit.
Eddie Izzard.
What's that mean?
Yeah. So we got a flag. So I mean, I think, and if they didn't like it, we shot them.
Yeah.
So
they start asking what the flag means as troops start coming off of the ships.
Yeah. Here's our flag. It's your flag now. But we did do some good things, to be fair. We put railways in for like almost all of the railway lines in Africa, even today, were the railways constructed by the UK during the Germany built a few as well, and a couple of other countries that colonized a few bits. France as well. But a lot of it was Britain. We brought a lot of education. Hey, we brought Christianity to a bunch of countries that didn't want it. It's just like Ethiopia.
Wasn't the movie Lawrence of Arabia have like the British rail system in Africa as a backstory? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because there's a big battle.
We built a load in like Southeast Asia and stuff as well. Well, we were because when you're stealing shit, you need a way to get it out.
It's a logistics problem, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a logistics problem. So you're not going to drive it out, take care of it. So you build a railway, you span out, you steal all the shit, you put it on the railway, you drive home. Brilliant.
Get on a boat, get it through the Suez as fast as possible. Get it.
Which we also owned and and tried to steal back after World War II, and you Americans wouldn't let us.
We had our issues. We had our opinions.
Yeah. Well, we orchestrated a conflict just to get the Suez Canal. We basically baited Israel and Egypt to attack each other so that we could swoop in and take the Suez Canal. And the Americans went, "You're not doing that." And we were like, "Oh!"
And that took most of the Jimmy Carter administration to fix. By the way, with the
fix, there's nothing to fix.
Oh,
Trump wants to go. Trump wants to take back the Panama Canal. That's what we did. That's all we did. We built and paid for the bloody thing. We just wanted it back. And screw the people that lived there.
Right. Like in history.
History.
Whether they like it or not.
Yeah, no, Britain is it's a complicated place we live.
I think the whole world can be a little complicated at times.
Yeah.
The only good thing about
the Romans do for us. Well, other than roads, sanitation, education, what do the Romans ever do for us? Yeah.
The Crusades.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
How many people died in that one? Or multiple Crusades?
There's a bunch of African states at the moment that are trying to sue Britain. They want billions of pounds off us for from the slave trade, basically, and the impact of the slave trade. And I'm like, come on, it wasn't my fault. And it's just like, I mean, it was, and we were the first country to ban it. It's just like, we were, under Victorian rule, we banned it about 50 years before the Americans did. At least we realized it was kind of bad. Okay, it took us a
And
while.
if you do that to Great Britain, you'd also have to do it to the other crowns of the time, France and Spain.
The Dutch were well at it. The Dutch loved a bit of slavery and a bit of shipping slaves to the New World.
The Dutch East India Company
all over
comes to mind, shipping slaves around.
Yeah, which is a private company, so I can't blame us for that.
It's amazing that Saudi Arabia also had such a slave trade going. They were milking the east coast of Africa during the diaspora, whereas everybody else was sending the slaves to the United States.
You've got to remember as well, with the slave trade, when we were involved in the slave trade with the East India Company and other things, and what we did was we went down to some African villages on the coast, and we went to the people that lived there and went, do you fancy getting us some slaves? And they went, yeah, okay. So they would go inland, get a couple of slaves, bring them back, and we would just go, oh, thank you very much. So we never actually kidnapped or, assaulted anybody. We were basically just a delivery system. So we were like DHL, but for slaves. So if you're going to sue us, what I'm trying to say is, and a serious point, if you're going to sue us, we weren't the ones actually. There's lots of villages along the south, the west coast of Africa that actually did very well out of it. So if you're going to sue us, you've got to sue them as well, surely. I suppose they did it for us, and we did.
Yeah, supplying
it's
the market.
A contract issue, I think, but yeah, because the market wouldn't be there unless the Brits were willing to acquire the slaves off of the out of the slave camps that dotted the Gold Coast.
It's Cotton's fault, so sue Levi. Aren't they the world's largest single user of cotton, I think? So we need to sue them, not us. Thank you. All I'm trying to say is it's not my fault. Don't take my money. But we really, really, really should give the art back. We really should. We should just basically open the British Museum and just go, right, all the countries, just come and get your stuff. Whatever you want to come and get it. Because it's genuinely disgusting that our museum is full of the art and majesty from 90% of the planet. Yeah, we did.
Well,
it was also never legal to have a slave in the UK. We were never allowed slavery in Britain, ever.
What about y'all's colonies? Because didn't y'all just introduce it everywhere else in the world and essentially say, oh, yeah, we didn't do it here, but everywhere else we've ever been to, we literally pushed it and made sure it was happening.
Do you know the other thing that Britain did that we created that other countries tried to steal our glory? But I'm just like, nah, we did that first. The concentration camp. So Germany were like, oh, we got concentration camps. We were like, no. We did that first, and we did it better. So, and we slaughtered half a country down in South Africa, just for fun, apparently. So yeah, we were shits. Britain properly was shits, but America, you're trying to catch up.
We're doing our best. We decimated the local Native American populations. Well, stole their land, stole their water.
That was kind of still us.
That was them. We've worked with them. French Canadian War, and literally the U.S. has not helped. We screwed over after the fact, but yeah.
Everything from about halfway all the way to the west coast. That was all you, but we did the first bit.
Well, Spain. I mean, Spain. From the Louisiana Purchase was from Florida, I think, to the Missouri River. Was that right? And that was the Louisiana Purchase, and so that, I mean, you can't take all of Spain's credit, Jay. There was lots of plundering by everybody.
Yeah,
France was busy plundering Canada. Yeah, it all just sucked.
Secular Monk is correct. We did steal the concentration camp off Alexander the Great. That is technically true.
So it's Macedonian. Well, that's not a country anymore. So
no, nobody lives there anyway.
Yeah,
but
kill them all or whatever.
So yeah, history is a well, for one, it's written by the victors, as we know. As I was saying, that's true, but it's a complicated mess because I mean, I mean, I genuinely think that even in the UK until the 50s, people of colour were considered to be less human almost, and so people thought that if you could take advantage of another country or whatever, it's because they were inferior. So it was virtually your right to. Then we brought in Christianity to try to improve them, and it's insane, isn't it? You know, it's insane. We've caused so much evil in the world, the UK. And then we tried to make out that, but we bought them schools and we bought them Christianity and we bought a railway line. I'm like, yeah, but we also stole all of their natural resources and murdered loads of them in the process as well.
You know, one thing about living in the West is a greater appreciation of the genocide that was against the native peoples. You know, like the United States, especially like in Montana and the Plains states, and Canada did this too, is literally kidnapping their children, putting them in orphanages to make and punishing them if they spoke their native tongue. You know, force them to join Christianity, force them to learn English, and just kind of erase the culture right out of it. God, that was
Scottish.
The best, like most visceral example I think of that in just recent media that we've seen was 1923, Taylor Sheridan's sequel, 1983 prequel to Yellowstone. The Native American girl in there, her story is hard to watch, and it's so true. It's one of the most realistic stories there are in the show, and maybe out of any of the stories that Yellowstone or any of the Yellowstone ancillary shows have come up with. It is visceral and real. And
the movie Zulu and the battle at Rorke's Drift, where 100 British soldiers fought off an attacking force of 5,000 Zulu, and it's considered one of the greatest military battles in British history. It's revered, and in lots of ways it is, because those men, the political situation wasn't those men's fault, and they fought for their lives in an incredible conflict that earned the respect of the attacking Zulu forces. So it is a hell of a thing. But we do need to remember we weren't there for negotiation purposes. We weren't there for good thing. We were in the invading force, and the only reason those Zulu were attacking was because we turned up with loads of guns. And the only reason they were so well armed was because they'd slaughtered 1,000 of our men a few miles away and stole their weapons. So that whole thing is like, it depends on how you look at it. Like we say, remove the politics from it, and what those men did was incredible. But at the same time, it's not a heroic story. If you look at the full picture, it's a story of invasion and subjugation that fucks the entire South Africa for the next 200 years. And like apartheid and all this sort of stuff was an offshoot of what we did.
South Africa's still reeling from it. I mean, they still have plenty of political turmoil in their own country right now. Just being there a couple of years ago was a lot of fun and really interesting and beautiful. But you also hear about everything that's actually going on from the horse's mouth, and you're like, oh, well, the news says some stuff, but they don't tell you everything. It's intense in a lot of places.
Is it? I forget which way around it is, but there's Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Yeah.
And one's supposed to be amazing, but it's a larger white population and it's quite wealthy. And the other one is a larger black population and it's poor as fuck.
Joburg would be the latter. Cape Town is the
wealthy.
Destination.
Johannesburg is also you are more likely to be shot and have your car stolen than to die from any other reason.
Yeah, it's still like you can literally go around the whole city and be fine. Don't go to the outskirts of the city.
No, I thought that was a bottle of whiskey you would nick and then Stormy. I was just like, man, that's early.
He said all this fire talk, all the depressing stuff that we've been talking about. Let me grab this big swig real quick.
It is a bit of a
my throat was getting dry from all of my barking, so I just had to.
Yeah. Anyway, Harris, look out the window, mate. You're on fire yet?
Say what?
That would be. Look out the window. Are you on fire yet? That would be a hell of an
Not yet.
end to the webisode, mate.
Well,
If,
let me see if there's any smoke visible. No, and the other day, this was like the direction it was coming from. That was the direction the smoke was coming from, not the glow that I was saying earlier. But at least there's no smoke in that direction.
Yeah, I don't want
good.
your house to burn down, but it would be good television. I mean,
well, you're not gonna have anywhere to stay come October. If that's the case,
you've not read my message. I mean, the chap that I'm coming with wants us to push it back to spring because he wants a couple more months to save some money.
This spring or spring 2026? Okay.
Yeah. Except I'm gonna have a word with him because my uni course starts, so I still need to afterwards. So I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to have to give him some money or something and we'll figure it out. But I really kind of need to do it October, really. But I'll have a word with him. And the other thing is he thought it was going to cost loads more than it is. So he thought it's going to be 1,500 quid for £1,000 for flights. And I'm like, no, it's not. But yeah. So I'm still working on it anyway.
Well, just find a good get rich quick scheme for him, and
well, he likes poker, so he needs a good poker run, doesn't he?
There we go. We'll make a couple stops in Vegas. That's always a good spot.
Well, we've already said that. As soon as I said that you were going to supply him his recreational drugs for the 2 weeks, he was much happier as well. So,
if it's not me, my cat will steal a joint and give it to him. Don't worry.
Thing is, as well, if we don't have to rent a car, if you come and get us and then we go over to Vegas or something, we spend a few days together, sort of thing. That saves us a shitload of money. It's $1,000 to rent the car for 2 weeks. So we'll just rent a car in Vegas and fuck off from there.
Oh God, no! Don't. If you're renting a car in Vegas to leave Vegas, that's cool. If you go to Vegas as the destination and rent a car, you're killing yourself. Just get an Uber. Ubers are everywhere. They'll take you to
to leave Vegas to drive to New Mexico.
Oh well, then you'll need a car.
Yeah, I'm not walking or getting an Uber. It's to come to your house.
Las Cruces, you can't even fly here. You have to go to El Paso, Texas.
US.
My plan is to sofa surf my way through America. And if I can't find a bed, I'm going to become a male prostitute. The truckers over there look horny.
Vegas is free.
So I reckon
free reign.
And I've got a peach of an ass, so I reckon.
There you go. Squishy in all the right places.
Oh,
it's quite firm actually, man. He squats.
Oh well, there
Jay wants to visit Area 51. Honestly, that'd be fun to see as far in as we could go or something.
I really do. I want to go to Meteor Canyon as well. I'd quite like to go down there. I know that's a bit further, but I'd quite like to go to Meteor Canyon. And I want to go see the Grand Canyon on a day that isn't blowing a hurricane. And I thought I was going to die. So, but there was an element. Also, I want to plan it better. I want to take up a barbecue or something. Because what we did, we didn't plan anything. We just drove up there. We nearly died. The wind was awful and it kept snowing on us and shit. But we got up there and we literally walked to the edge, looked and it went, that's nice. Should we go? we didn't know what to do. So I'd like to get some chairs and sit and maybe have a barbecue or at least have a few beers. We didn't even have beer. We drank all the beer on the way up there. Oh no, we didn't, because that would be drink driving. We drank it the day before, not while driving. No, we drank it while driving. We didn't even have a beer. We were idiots.
Shucks.
Thought we were going to die. And then I've told you this before, but on we had the big canyon sides, and they've got the roads that sort of zigzag down the side of the canyon. And I'm in the big 35 truck, 35 foot RV, and I'm driving and I'm riding the brakes all the way down, and I'm like, do you think I could just downshift? Because I've never driven a shifter here before. It makes me we don't know, because because I'm riding the brakes, guys. Smell that? Clutch. Is it that's the brakes sort of? And I'm but we got down, but it was stunningly beautiful. But I did think we were going to die.
Yeah. Wonder why.
We drove over a bridge, and the wind came down and hit the side of the RV as we went over the bridge, and we properly swerved. The guy driving nearly spilled his beer. And then he swerved, nearly hit another car, swerved back, nearly hit the side of the bridge again. And so he pulled off to the side, got out, had a fag, swig of his beer, and we just had to so, do you want me to drive, mate? He's like, yes, please. It was horrendous, awful bloody thing. But
that had to have been I-40, the Interstate 40, and I-40 can get treacherous quickly if you're not careful.
It kept snowing. And it was like sleet more than slow. It was like hail more than snow. So it was like little ice balls, and they landed. But this RV, I don't think the tracking was very good on it, because you're driving in a straight line. You have to do that ever so slightly as you're driving to stay in a straight line. In the snow, I was properly like this. So they go, guys, pass me up my beer. I can't be sober for this shit. Jesus Christ. It was horrendous. Properly, like, I was like
this is why I use a hotel wherever I go.
Yeah. Oh no, I would never go in an RV in America again. It was an absolute nightmare. It was so bad. We ended up finding a little place south of LA, and we just stayed there. It was like, should we go somewhere else? No.
We're here. Relax.
We're here. It's pretty. There's a nice beach. There's a pub up there. That's where they did that. Did I tell you guys about that stuff that it was like came in a fish bowl, and it was like a chocolate milk, and it made me piss from my feet up? I've told you that story.
I think yes, you have. It was quite
that it was there.
Descriptive.
So we got those. We were only allowed one. And somebody came in and go, why are you peeing against the wall? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm peeing in the toilet. No, you're not. I was ruined. But my brain thought I was perfectly sober. I literally stood up to go to the loo. I can't move my legs.
I-40 will take it out of you. It's insane.
There's a stretch of I-40 west of Flagstaff, Arizona, that is just, it's horrible. I went through,
the wind spot?
Not the wind spot, it's the roads themselves.
Oh.
The I-40 west of Flagstaff, I mean, is so bad, it destroyed a set of tires on my truck. It just chewed them up. The roads were so bad. I was moving from Mojave to Las Cruces, and I took this one route, and the holes and the roads were so bumpy and so bad on the interstate, it knocked my bike rack off twice.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, and it was just dangling, so I had to pull over. Horrible. Yeah, so I-40. Have patience in Arizona. Flagstaff's a gorgeous city.
Yeah.
Phoenix City, but the interstate is terrible.
I got it. I was just saying, that's your mom, isn't it, Harris?
Nancy? Yeah, I'm thinking there's some wine after lunch or something. I don't know what is being typed in there right now. Relax.
I had 2 or 3 nightmare parking situations with the RV. Once I drove around an island the wrong way, and that annoyed a man in Arizona greatly, as he was facing me coming the right way. He was mad. We decided to drive into LA, and the traffic just went loads of cars. I was driving, I'm like, I'm very scared, and I was because it's so wide. And then I remember I got about that close to this beautiful black Ford F-350, and I was literally inches away from it, maybe a couple of inches. And I remember just looking down, and I could see him staring at me. It's like,
I remember that story.
What the fuck are you doing? I was like, ah! And he's like, I've got to get out. Like, turn around, you've got to get out. So I just turned around and get the fuck out of LA as quick as we could. It's horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
The I-40, just getting right here, the roommate that used to live in this room a few years back before moving back to Texas, when we were moving him out here, we were like, okay, we can take I-10 because we were coming from Houston. Like, all right, just drive the easy route all the way. Or we can go camping a little bit, see some sights, go to Big Bend at the end of Texas. Stay there for a few Big Bend, whatever.
Big Ben, that's a drive.
Bend, not Ben. I said Bend. I'm talking to Brits. I said the different thing. But Stormy knew what I was saying. He was there. Mentally, I don't know. I'm all over the place. Anyway, the guy that lived in here, when we were moving him out here, we were on I-40. There was a stretch where we drove through a wildfire. No, I think we drove through hail. Then later that day, we drove through a wildfire. And then the next morning when we were driving, we hit a spot of like that wind spot that I was saying where trucks just get turned over all the time. So we were literally driving by 18-wheelers that were on their sides. And we're just saying, all right, well, into the apocalypse we go. And the apocalypse.
That wasn't the winds, mate. They were just tired. Everyone's going to have a lie down at some point.
God.
When we were in Flagstaff in the RV, again, one more RV story, we ended up going to this place that had bowling alley and restaurant and stuff, and like an arcade and things. And so we're having a few beers with the and the owner's sort of there, and he's sort of like, "Oh man, go," because we parked down the way in the RV park, and the guy said, "If you go get the RV, you can stay in the car park if you want." And we were like, "Oh, that's very kind of you. That way we can get hammered and not, that we don't have to stumble back to the thing." So I volunteered. I went and got the car. What we didn't think was, as I was talking about, the car park was actually the place was like the top of a hill. So it was slanted like that all the way, like about 40 degrees sort of thing. So when you were in the RV, we didn't twig until we went to try to go to bed, and we lay down and fell off our beds. It was just like, we're sleeping at an angle. This is a problem. So we, except my one mate who's the bed was facing that way, so he was just like, my head's just a little bit higher than my feet. It's fine. But for us,
like, I'm all good.
We kept falling out of bed. It was marvelous, and we were drunk, so we obviously thought that was very fun.
Yeah, I was about to say that turns it into a game.
Yeah, we just thought it was hilarious.
Oh, if roads could talk, I-40 must have some stories. There are 3 people who live. Stormy and I are half a continent away, and Jamie's obviously a continent away and a pond away. And there's plenty of stories that can come out of this one interstate. There are so many stories there. And all of them are pretty funny and probably
talking
crazy.
about me on a bike. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is. Let me turn the background crap off, and you can see it. I've got pictures of me on a bike.
For some reason, I can't see Stormy on a bike. For some reason, when I read that, I just imagined you as E.T. on a bike, just in like a silhouette of a moonlight for a minute.
This is a picture of my bike. This is on San Francisco's BART system. When I lived there, I rode my bike everywhere because you kind of had to. And here's me on a bike with my helmet.
I'm sorry.
So happy.
Look like a bearded potato with a bike helmet.
I was a lot heavier. This was about.
I'm going to say you've lost a little bit of weight since then, sir.
Because
you've lost it all from here somehow.
Yes.
The bottom of your head.
There's a significant amount of body mass that's missing from my ass. It is
like the one place I didn't want it to go from. Shit.
God.
Meaty. I mean, this significant amount of body weight from my ass needs to go as well at some point.
So yeah, I love a bike. My knees are killing me.
Squats. Got to stay in form. That's the way it is nowadays.
And then also, just in case you need to make gay love with a trucker to get a bed for the evening, keep yourself, just in case. It's always got to be in the back of your mind.
You better have the fist
at all times.
Sometimes if your car's broken down in New Mexico, there's only one way to get home.
That's true.
You don't have a choice. It's just the way things are. I would rather die.
I would rather die. I'm gonna sleep on the side of the road. Cold that night.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with being gay or trans or whatever you want to do. It's not for me. I was going to say something horrible then, but I won't. I'll stop myself. Grown up. But it's like
I'll be back in one moment.
Okay. It's like having a foot fetish or something. It's fine if that's what you want to do. It's not for me. No,
don't get it. Yeah.
No.
That's one I'll never get either.
No. What's wrong with boobs? Boobs are ace. Just go with boobs. Like the rest of us.
There are so many great, more fleshy parts of the human body. I don't get it. Like, anyway.
There's nothing more weird though than having a foot fetish than loving boobs. Really, it's just a different part of the body you like. So, like, that's what your thing is. That's great. Not for me.
No,
but doesn't mean anyone else is wrong. So like our lives and the planet would be so much better if people stopped thinking that what their whatever is the right way, and other person's thing is the wrong way.
It's just like, the way you do it. Yeah. That's all.
That's my thing. That's your thing. I like ladies with big boobs. You like dudes with bearded feet. That's your thing. You go for it, man. It's not my thing. Ain't wrong. Your thing ain't wrong. Just yes, Peter. It is a foot fetish. It's a football fetish. Hey, we want.
Hey, there we go. Football. There you go. Brain Pain said, "Any sci-fi news?"
Not that I haven't already dropped, really.
Yeah.
I've not really heard anything since. But I think anything coming out of a lot of my sources are in California, and obviously, genuinely, they're not really as concerned about dropping me an email about whatever's going on whatever TV show that may or may not happen.
Hey, if any of our sources need a place to come stay,
I'll let them know until the wind turns and your house blows down. So
knock on wood for that one.
But yeah, I haven't really spoken to anybody this week. I've got more important things to deal with. So, but yeah,
it's just wild.
I think this is gonna. This could hamper all sorts. I mean,
the cost of everything's about to just blow up astronomically.
If California needed, I mean, I've been thinking about doing a video on this, but I mean, we've touched on it a few times. California was obviously the beating heart of the entertainment industry, and it has been for the last 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is anymore. I think it's dying a slow death. This is not going to help.
No. Well, right now, I mean, we talked about it a little bit the last few weeks and kind of touched on that, where nowadays you don't need to be in LA to actually act and do everything. LA is just a hub for the managers and agents, essentially. And you still have managers and agents for all the respective areas.
Yeah, most of the people we get to speak to are in LA for that reason. They're not actors and things. They're lawyers and and agents or assistants to people, or that sort of thing. So no, not a great deal as sci-fi news that I've heard anyway. Not really since this sort of. We're going to talk about Firefly on the weekend, aren't we? And I think we're going to have a chat about whether that should be rebooted or not. Because there is an argument. Reboots do work. Remakes, I should say, do work. Quite a bit. But it's specific. It's like it's got to be done right. And is Firefly in the position for a continuation? Will that work or that be a bad thing? I think that'd be an interesting debate to have, which I think we should have a chat about on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, we talked about that. I think that's a great idea. New Brunswick, Canada guy said Santa Ana wins now expected there through Wednesday. I just read. Yes. So as long as there's something to be streamed out of on Wednesday, we will be talking Firefly and not so much fire flying through the air. Hopefully,
I think Invasion's been cancelled, isn't it?
Invasion, I believe, had its final season greenlit for season 3, or was that Silo?
That's what I heard. It's going to be the final season.
Okay. Yeah, that blows. Hey, just like the wind right now. Hey.
Oh.
But no, so really not a whole bunch of sci-fi news right now. Wednesday, hopefully we'll have some stuff for you. Jamie and I are going to do a Firefly stream, like you just said. Hopefully, Chazz man's in the chat still and can let us know. But Chazz is yet to see Firefly. One of our SciTrek and the host hasn't seen Firefly, and after Matt and I hadn't seen it for
it's almost as bad as not watching Star Trek and being on this channel. but we
Well,
wouldn't allow that because obviously, we have standards.
Well,
But
as long as
you
you've
should
seen
see
the
the
JJ
deer I've bought myself. It's coming. It'll be here by Wednesday. I'll show you. I bought myself.
Mike hasn't seen it. Really?
Mike,
But
what are you
perfect
doing,
time.
man?
The idea is obviously Sarah and I are planning out how to do our Farscape watch party for Patreon, so patrons get a nice little thing, just like YouTube members are getting for the Star Trek Enterprise currently, the chronological Trek watch through, essentially. Something that I think we want to do for the main channel, of course. Well, obviously main channel all around, but just for the public of the publics. Just watch some freaking Firefly, and Chazz has never seen it, so we're planning on doing that. Hopefully, we can do that Wednesday and have him.
14 episodes as well, so you could do that.
He said he does start a new job on Monday, so as long as he's got half a week to barrel through it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things you could really deep dive on every video, on every film, on every episode, sort of thing, and really get stuck into it. Right, you know how much I love Star Wars.
So much.
Yes,
so much.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things. It is one of my favorite things because I've just bought this. Where's my camera?
Oh, nice.
And it's massive. It's 1.5 meters by like a meter, a canvas. I just think that's stunning.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Where are you going to put it?
I'm hoping it's going to go on the wall. I'm even thinking what I might try and do is get some like little LED lights behind it, so it's like see if it glows, sort of thing. I'm hoping like that bit, and then the sun might like sort of glow.
Oh, the little LED strips that you can almost put around like the backside of it. Oh, that would look sick.
But I just thought that was just stunning. I've got to cover up a hole that I put in the wall. I was going to hang my TV and it went badly, so now I've got a hole. So I bought that to cover it up.
Those happen. Sometimes the wall's a little more hollow than you expect, and it's not going to hold a TV.
Oh yes, genius! I thought I was hitting the beam, and I wasn't. I thought I was hitting the stud wall, and I wasn't. So I've got a big hole there.
Wait,
so I filled it, but it's ugly.
That last Arnold message, I'm thrown off. What's the difference?
I think that was my message. What was that when I was talking about the how to make water?
No, because Mike said, "Oh God, Star Wars talk. I'm going for a piss." He said, "Drink up." Right. Wait, USA or UK? What is piss in the UK?
Mike's in the UK, isn't he? I think Mike's in the UK. I think. I'm not sure. Yeah. We should know where people like Mike and Peter and all these people are from, really, shouldn't we? Off the top of our heads.
I know, obviously, Mark, I know is from, it's the I. I always want to say Illinois. It's Iowa, I believe. I might have it backwards. Peter and Mike are both Brits. Arnold's a Brit, I believe.
Hey, Arnold.
Is Arnold not a Brit? Maybe Arnold's not. Remind me, Arnold. Brain Pain is a Brit. I'm assuming New Brunswick, Canada guy's from Canada. It might be a far-fetched guess. I don't know.
He's actually from America, but this is people can see him, so he says he's Canadian.
Ah, pissed, drunk. I see. Arnold, Puerto Rican. That's right. You told us that a few weeks back. That's right. Des Moines, Iowa. There we go. Iowa. I have a friend from Iowa that's out here. She was in the play this past summer and everything that I was directing and everything. One of my favorite things that I've ever heard. Just acronyms are great, but Iowans apparently call each other. The acronym for Iowa is idiots out wandering around. And I don't know why it just makes me chuckle like it does, but it just makes me chuckle. I love it. It's idiots out wandering around Iowa. It's perfect.
I was going to say who's furthest from me, but actually it's going to be Nate, isn't it? From our regulars.
Brain Pain, Washington. I remember you saying that now because you and Sarah had a conversation about that at one point or something like that. Rough Rider said he's at the DMV. That's great. You don't all got to tell us where you're from at all. That's it's the internet. You don't need to do that. But also over time, we know where a lot of people are from. Just
if we can have your addresses, bank statement.
Social security numbers.
Yeah, social security. That'd be great. If you send us that, that'd be fantastic. Just like you can trust us. So,
Mackie said, "Bladder's empty. Are we still in Star Wars?"
Yeah.
No, you brought us down a rabbit hole. Actually,
that lasted seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Should we call it an evening anyway? And for me, anyway, because my throat's
Yeah. It's probably good to pay attention to what's going on outside now. Just end it off. Y'all want to see the percentages of what everything is? This is the big one that's 14,000 acres, excuse me. 27% contained. And this is the one that's Pasadena, Altadena, et cetera, et cetera. This is getting into the Angeles National Forest right here. So as much as it sucks that the National Forest is going, at least it's not headed
was that Mount Wilson in the Los Angeles Forest or the Angeles Forest?
Right here.
Oh, wildfire is quite good for the forest. Though.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah,
Mount Wilson, the observatory. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the museum. The museum's still safe, apparently, right here. But it's not.
What about Griffith Observatory?
Griffith is okay. The only big, I think, Hollywood landmark that's been taken out or damaged in a big degree or capacity is the Getty so far. So, and Chazz and I were talking about that. Apparently, only 14 to 15 items in the Getty were actual pieces of art that were like the original pieces of art. Most of them were replications that were, okay, someone's donating this piece of art, but they don't want to donate the actual piece of art. Here's a replication of it, one of the prints per se. So hopefully not a whole bunch of things got destroyed, but something got destroyed. It was the Getty, but nearly 24,000 acres here. It's 11% containment. This is the one that's closer to me. But the winds the last day or two have been going southeast instead of northeast where we are. So that's good. We'll just hope those Santa Ana winds don't decide to do anything too crazy. The biggest thing, woke up this morning and this fire was 100% contained. The Kenneth fire that's northwest of us. So that was good.
Yeah, they say that the other fire is 27% contained. It's wrong around, isn't it? It's 73% not contained. That's more what I'd want to know.
Yeah, and if you look at the places that have lots of containment, they're very, very small land masses. It's just a tiny spot that's on the map that this is contained.
Yeah.
When you have all these other fire warnings, this is a horrible, man. You do have, Harris, a bug out bag for you and your weed cat.
But of course, and the one that wouldn't take my weed, she's the one that'll keep the other one in check, which would be nice.
For your bug out bag, though, mate, you can't just put weed in a bag. You actually need.
I got a separate one for that.
ID, that sort of thing. You can't just fill a bag with weed and go, done.
Well, no, see, I toss it at the fire, then stand there for a few seconds, then leave, and then we're all set. I got to get my spiritual cleansing of the area real quick.
You're going to burn to death.
Yeah, if that was the case, big time.
Yeah, some of these fires move at like 30 miles an hour.
Oh, and the wind's going 70, 80 miles an hour.
Anyway, let's hope that they get a handle on it. And main thing is we don't want any more loss of life. We can rebuild. No. We can build stuff again.
Oh, the Will Rogers is gone? I didn't realize that. That's a shame.
This week, though, to talk about sci-fi, we have got the Skeleton Crew finale Wednesday. We'll have to talk about that a little bit as well.
That'll be fun. That's Tuesday evening over here. I know it's Wednesday morning for y'all.
We get it Wednesday.
We want to do maybe an afterthoughts for that.
Yeah, we'll do it after we've chat. We'll chat about Firefly, and we'll chat a bit about it. And if you're in the UK, Romulus comes out Wednesday or Thursday, I think.
Good news. That's good. Oh God, Star Wars. Be right back.
We're done. We're done.
Really enjoying Skeleton Crew. It's so good. I'm really enjoying it.
One piece of interesting news, which I don't actually think means anything, but I was told, Amanda Tappin has cancelled all of her appearances for the following year because she's going to be doing some project in June. But nobody knows what the project is.
What could it be?
It's not Stargate.
Can I cross every finger possible? Oh, maybe it's the thing that will lead into Stargate.
No, it's a thing that she's been working on for a while. It's got a green light. So nobody knows what it is.
Is she directing it, maybe, or is it something that she's just acting?
She's directing and executive producing.
Cool. That would make sense.
But it's quite a small like indie movie thing that she's doing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not Stargate. Unless they're putting out fake news, which they actually do quite like to do nowadays. So, but yeah, but it's interesting. RDA stepped up for a lot of her appearances.
That'll be cool. I doubt a Sanctuary sequel.
No, it's just I forget what it's called, but it's just a movie that she's been trying to get going for a little while.
Mark, real quick, the Hollywood sign did not burn down. That was an AI photo being passed around, thankfully.
Fucking AI.
And even if it was burned down, I'd be kind of say, hey, rebuild it, obviously, but can we say Hollywood land again? I don't know. Let's just change it back. Why not?
AI scares the shit out of me. I saw one generated the other day. This Buffalo Bill from
Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs movie. And he's there, basically, it's a Tinder profile. So he's there talking about, so it's very funny, but it's done with using AI. It's done well. You can tell because, you can tell with the mouth and the eyes, and you can still tell it's generated, but it's not far off. I'm just thinking, give that another 5 years. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. Where is it going to be? Just.
Internet companies need to do something because it's going to get ridiculous. You can't trust anyone. Can't trust what you see anymore. Anyway. Let's call it a day. Let's call it an evening. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Really a lot of fun.
Well,
2 hours. I'm bored now.
We're almost hitting that 2 hour mark. There we go. I guess we don't have a podcast specific thing. God, I can't even speak right now anymore. Real quick, I just want to show these off because I was excited. I've been able to show these off in our little membership streams, but we now have fun little just graphics to put on just to advertise a little bit.
What happened to my head?
What happened to me?
That's the photo from Facebook. I don't know.
Did I give you permission to take my photo and put it in there?
There we go.
There's Stormy. Majestic as possible. Stormy and Greg have the most majestic poses of us all.
Pretty freaking majestic, actually, mate.
Yeah.
It's
literally, and he took it out on a tarmac too, and not just a normal tarmac. It's got to be some rocket built right behind him. It's not a plane, of course. That's basic. Dr. Danny Gandalf himself, soon to be Dr. Danny Gandalf, right?
Dr. Danny. Well, give me a couple years, but yeah, me posing in front of a spaceship is top tier. I'm just saying.
I made these two as well. These are going to be fun. These are the simple ones, the interviews, and then the debates, of course, when we get those going.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I like arguing with Greg. Arguing with Greg's fun.
Just let me know when you need more, random trivia questions. I will come up with them.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that again.
Do you want me to pitch you the debate idea I have for this month before we meet live, or right after we're on? Right
after.
Okay. So I guess that is it from all of us. Y'all be safe. Stay safe. We're trying as best we can.
You stay safe, for fuck's sake.
The
worst that's going to happen to me is I'm going to slip over, or I'm going to drown in all the water that we've got. You need to stay safe.
Trying our best. All right. Well, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will see y'all Wednesday for some Firefly, and hopefully y'all get to watch some Firefly with Chazz after the fact.
And hopefully there's no more fire.
Yeah.
Yes. And Tuesday, as long as we're still kicking and can stream, of course, we might talk a little bit of Star Wars Skeleton Crew while we're at it, a little afterthoughts. But we'll keep you posted, and again, stay safe. Adios, y'all.
See you later.
Bye.